Good evening. The date is July 14, 1945. Germany has surrendered and war in Europe has come to an end. Hitler's Nazis have been vanquished and American soldiers are returning home. Families and friends everywhere from California, Iowa to New York are welcoming back their men and women after 3 long years of furious war. In a cottage on the quiet shores of Wallon Lake, Michigan, await Mariam, the young wife of First Lieutenant Mariam Jablondki, who was listed missing in action after the invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944. This is her story and revelation that soon comes to her door. Act 2, Scene 1. As the lights slowly rise on the dining room, everyone is positioned as they were at the conclusion of Act 1, with dessert plates and coffee cups atop the table. Oh, you'll never guess who it was! Mr. Simpson? No, he was helping customers at the time. Mr. Rollingsworth? Oh, no, he wasn't there that day. Aren't you going to guess, Marion?
Was it a stranger?
No, but I suppose he was to some. What year was it? Didn't I already tell you? You probably did, but the sherry's dulling my memory. Don't blame the sherry, Sebastian. I've noticed you're dropping words during sermon lately. Besides, I only put a few drops for flavoring in your coffee. Coffee? Is that what I've been drinking? Listen close, everyone. It was 1921 when I was 16 years old. It was September 3rd to be exact. Here's another clue. He's originally from Illinois, and his father was a doctor. Oh, the way you go on about things. Every day's a milestone, and how do we even know it's true? All my stories are true. Aren't they, Marion?
Yes, I believe so.
What? Is she going to call you a liar? I've never given her reason to. Have you? That's enough, ladies. This is good fun, isn't it?
Yes, go on, Mabel. I'm dying to find out.
How about you, Richard? Are you dying too? No, Mrs. Jablondki, but curious, yes. Oh, well, that settles it then. As I already said, I purchased a soda and sat on the porch when a tall man sat next to me. Was anyone else there? No. I already said there wasn't. You'd better see Dr. Mueller about your failing memory. I think you'll be lucky to remember your way home tonight. Stop your fretting. I'm perfectly fine. Oh, go on with your story, Mabel. I'm not boring anyone, am I? Not me. Well, our guest of honor's amused, so I'll carry on then. He was dressed in a fine summer suit. Now how would you know that? Have you forgotten my mother owned a clothing store? Of course not, but I was raised around fine clothing and know the difference of finely tailored suits from ordinary ones. Can we please refrain with the accusations? So, Mabel, you were saying he was finely dressed. Yes. And as he sat next to me, he pulled a small writing pad from his coat pocket and began scribbling something down. He noticed my curiosity and said, "It helps keep my thoughts intact." I quickly asked, "Are you a writer?" And he said, "I hope to be one day." Oh. Then someone called out, "We're ready for you." He rose, tucking his pad of paper and pencil away, but before he left I quickly asked, What's your name in case you become famous?" He turned, smiling, and as clear as the morning said, "Ernest Hemingway. I hope I don't disappoint you." Oh, Ernest Hemingway? Yes, amazing, isn't it?
Oh my God. You never mentioned that before.
Oh, come on. For all we know, the man was pulling your leg. Oh, no. I sat and watched as he and his bride stepped from the church, having just married. It was an unusually bright and sunny day, and I had a front row seat. Mr. Simpson came out when the horns started honking and said straight away, "There goes little old Hadley Richardson with her war hero." I quickly asked, "What's his name?" Then he said as clear as day, "Ernie Hemingway."
Oh, goodness.
See there? You never know who you may be sitting next to.
Oh, I've never met anyone famous.
How about you, Richard? Have you ever been near anyone famous? No, sir. Not that I'm aware of, but there's been plenty who thought they were. Oh, yes. I've heard a lot of stories about him, but never had the privilege of meeting him. So he rubbed off on you, did he? Oh, yes. Tall, handsome, and you could tell by the gleam in his eyes he was extremely intelligent. When was the wedding? Who's being forgetful now, Harriet? Oh, September 3rd, 1921. So, what if it is him? His name should be Strang for all the wives he's left behind. Oh, come on now, Harriet. You're talking about one of America's greatest writers, not some scoundrel unworthy of mention. I don't care if he's Franklin D. Roosevelt. He's a womanizer and a drunk. Well, I found him absolutely adorable. I'm not surprised. Who Strang, Mrs. Jablondki? You tell him, Sebastian. I don't wish to raise the dead. Tell him what an unruly animal he was. He was far from being an animal, don't you think? I won't stand being corrected in my home, Mabel. Excuse me, then. The name Strang is a sensitive subject with most people around here, Richard. Why? Was he a murderer or something? Worse! And they shot him for it! Aren't you rushing things a bit? There were circumstances leading up to that. You know that, Harriet. As if I care. He got his just desert. That's all that counts. Richard, you'll soon learn most people around here don't put up with shenanigans. When it comes to Strang, Richard, people run off with the wildest stories. And with good reason. I don't want to be hearing any excuses from you, Mabel. Let's be civil now. There's no need to be arguing amongst ourselves. You asked me to explain the story to Richard, didn't you? I did. Well then, I'll start by giving his full name. He was James Jesse Strang. He was a self-proclaimed prophet in the Mormon faith. He led a colony of believers to Beaver Island, only a short distance offshore of Charlevoix in 1848. Tell him what they were. They were polygamists. That they were, and the only difference separating them from Hemingway is that he does it legally, but is no better. Harriet, please, let's not jump to conclusions. Mr. Hemingway's a far cry different than Mr. Strang. Let's keep our facts in perspective, shall we? I'm entitled to what I think. He may be a talented writer, but a boozer. He is all the same. I've read about him. He honors marriage vows as much as a burglar respects locked doors. Last I heard, divorce isn't a capital crime. Or is it? Don't get her started, Mabel. Are you sure you want to hear all this, Richard? I don't mind. It sounds very interesting. For good or for worse, it's part of our local history. How about you, Mariam? Have you any strong feelings about it?
I don't know much about either of them, but listening does no harm, I guess.
No harm at all. Well, Richard, he soon proclaimed himself king over his island domain, and after encouraging his followers to practice his unorthodox lifestyle, he was gunned down by a group of 40 men led by a disgruntled member, Thomas Bedford. Thomas Bedford had grown critical of his teachings. Strang died in July of 1856. They shot him like a rabid dog. That's rather harsh, don't you think, Mrs. Jablondki? No, it served him right for misleading those poor people. God didn't intend for us to be hopping bed to bed like kangaroos, isn't that right, Sebastian? The scriptures teach it's a sin to commit adultery, but it also says, thou shalt not kill. Two wrongs don't make a right. They could have found a better way of handling the matter. But they were justified. Were they now? God's delicate balance might have a difference of opinion. This is what brings men to fighting wars. Each believes himself more right before God than the other. Forgive me, Pastor Dupree, but I think the sherry's gone to your head. And if we continue in this depressing topic, I will be forced to have more sherry too. Frankly, on the matter of polygamy, I've never met a man who satisfied me, let alone worthy enough pleasing several women at the same time. Can we please change the subject? I won't argue with that, Mabel. I couldn't say it any better. Why, no. What were the charges? I heard, and his name's not worth mentioning. What? Did they catch him drunken and divorced with several women? Oh, hardly, I'm afraid.
He was arrested in Italy for treason.
What a shame. I love his poetry, especially the natural philosophy of love. He was very intelligent, you know. You'd never know it by all his lying on the radio. This should get him a tight rope, all right. Did you ever listen to his ranting, Richard? No, I never did. But I was aware of his political views against America entering the war. Some of the guys heard him spouting off while in Italy. And to think he was raised in Philadelphia, of all places. He's nothing but a traitor and deserves what's coming to him. This war's caused a lot of division, and we can thank God Germany's finally surrendered. Now, if only the Japanese will see the light, we'll get our boys back safe and sound.
He once said, the real trouble with war, modern war, is that it gives no one a chance to kill the right people. I never understood what he meant.
I don't want you quoting that man. It's poison. I understand what he means. What are you saying? When you're in the line of fire, you hold no grudges with anyone. You're just trying to stay alive and help the buddy next to you. The politics never enter your mind, and those who started the war are never there. I believe I understand what you're saying, Richard. Well, I don't. Mariam, will you be a dear and get Sebastian more coffee and bring the cherry bottle to the table?
Certainly.
She rises with Richard also standing. Here, let me give you a hand.
Thank you. But that's not necessary.
I'd like to help if I could, just the same.
All right.
Mariam crosses to the kitchen, with Richard following close behind. While in the kitchen, it's clear Richard holds a fascination toward Mariam. Since we were talking about famous people, did I ever mention the time I saw Houdini? Now this should be interesting. Go on, this should be fun, Mabel. Must we? Mabel? Mabel, you're not going to say he shackled you in a wooden box and dumped you in the river, are you? Oh my God. Were you there? Mabel, you've got to be joking. Yes, I am. But I did see him on October 24th, 1926. Where at? The Carrot Theater in Detroit. Mariam and Richard enter the dining room. I know what you're going to say, Mabel, and I forbid you from mentioning it. Harriet, you're not serious, are you? Nevermore. Harriet, what's the matter? It's all in good fun. Not in my home.
Not saying anything she shouldn't.
Not another word, Mariam. Excuse me, but we're not children to be silenced. Let me intervene for a moment. What are you afraid of her saying, Harriet? She knows. Ask her. What is she concerned about, Mabel? I haven't the slightest idea. Please, I need someone's help here. Harriet, Sebastian, it was Houdini's last performance. That's all, Richard? He ruptured his appendix and died 5 days later in the hospital. That's enough, Richard. There will be no talking of death in this house. It's all right, Harriet. Let's talk about it, shall we? There will only be happy thoughts. Do you hear me? There's no place for death here. Yes, Harriet. We hear you, Harriet. We'll change the subject, all right? Harriet looks at Richard. I'm sorry, Morgan. I really am. She rushes off the stage. Please, excuse me. Sebastian follows her. What was that all about?
My husband.
Has she done this before?
Since Morgan's missing, she hasn't been the same.
When did he disappear?
After D-Day landing in Normandy, Richard.
You were there, weren't you, Richard? Yes. This may sound morbid, but were you wounded there?
Mabel, I don't think that's necessary.
I'm just curious. I've never met anyone who was.
I apologize, Richard. I'm sure you don't like being reminded.
No, it's all right. It's my left leg. We flew into Normandy in a flimsy wooden glider. It was a ride into hell, actually. Once we touched down, me and the boys patrolled a farmhouse on a long, narrow road. The stench of dead cattle was everywhere. We drew fire from a machine gun in an upper window, and it sounds. The shooting is a sharp blade of fear through your bones and squeezes the air from your lungs. We were pinned behind a short stone hedge. One of the boys got spooked, jumped up and ran in a patch of trees, but took a sharp burst in his back. Watching him fall, I lost my mind and I crawled on my belly to his side. And I wasn't sure if he was dead or not, but I got on one knee and threw him over my shoulder and started back to the others. And I didn't know what hit me. Suddenly I was spinning in the air and well, the next thing I saw were two beautiful eyes staring down at me. It was a young nurse in a hospital. They said I was lucky to be alive after stepping on a landmine. Richard sees Sebastian coming into the room. Is Mrs. Jablondki all right, Sebastian? Yes. She's off to bed. The poor thing's completely exhausted. I'm afraid the evening festivities caught up with her, but she's got a strong heart and an iron will to match. No offense to you, Richard, but you reminded her of her son.
I should straighten things up.
What a shame it had to end this way. We were all having so much fun. Mariam and Mabel cleared the table. Just as well. We have work in the morning, don't we, Richard? Yes, sir. I thought we could start on the roof after picking up supplies.
The roof?
Yes. Didn't Harriet tell you? Richard's sticking around another day to patch the roof.
Oh, that's good to hear.
I'm happy to be of help.
But what of your father? Isn't he expecting you?
He's waited 3 long years, so another day or so won't hurt. We'll be off then, Richard. It was a lovely evening, Mariam. Please let Harriet know we enjoyed ourselves.
Yes, of course, Sebastian.
Ready, Richard? Yes, sir. Good night, Mabel. Your stories always bring a smile. Perhaps we'll see you in church this Sunday. Sebastian, miracles still exist, don't they? They most certainly do. Good night. It was very nice meeting you, Richard. Mabel shakes Richard's hand. Thank you. Good night. Richard reaches for Marian's hand. See you in the morning. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Yes. In the morning. Good night, Richard.
Yes. Good night. Sebastian and Richard exit upstage the kitchen. Marian and Mabel clear the dining room table. It's been a pleasure meeting you, eh?
Oh, please don't say another word. What do you expect from a soldier on leave?
Oh, I saw the way he was looking at
You're
you.
imagining things. Besides, he'll be gone soon. Let me get your dresses.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Now I won't have to hear Mrs. Pennington complaining.
Mabel, do you like the trim?
Lovely. A nice, tidy job, Marian. I can always rely on you.
Thank you, Mabel.
Listen, before I leave, I want you to know my offer still stands. If for any reason you can't continue living with Harriet, you know you have a place with me.
I really appreciate that, Mabel, but things will work out.
I worry about you. I really do. Especially after this evening. She's not right in the head. Is she so far gone she can't tell Richard from her own son?
Well, she's under a lot of stress.
That may be. But there's no excuse for her taking it out on you the way she does.
Since Morgan left, she hasn't been quite right. I noticed a change in her after their falling out.
What happened?
I was in the house at the time. It was early morning. I noticed Harriet sitting at the dining room table. I sensed there was something wrong, so I kept out of sight from behind the kitchen doorway.
The lights slowly fade as Mariam crosses to the kitchen doorway. As the lights rise, Harriet's sitting at the dining room table. Are you up here? Yes. Do you mind sitting with me for a few minutes? I thought I'd get up early so we could talk a bit before you leave. I always love this time of morning. It's when my thoughts are most clear. It was the same for your grandpa. He was always up before the first bird sang. I don't mean to rush you, son, but are you going to be much longer? No, Mother. That's good. That's good to hear, son. We both know I'm a nag at times, but it's always for a good cause. You can't fault me for that, can you? There's nothing wrong for a mother caring for her son. Pastor Dupree once told me I meddled in your life too much, but I set him straight, all right. I convinced him I was only doing a mother's duty, and there's no sin in that. What's going on in there, son? Aren't you ready yet? I'm busy at the moment, Mother. I promise not to keep you. Can it wait until we get down to the station? But we may not have a chance to talk later. Can't you spare me a few minutes, son? Morgan crosses into the dining room. What is it? Here, sit next to me. You've got to promise it'll be quick. I've got a war to catch, and the army doesn't take kindly to tardiness. I thought we should talk because you never know what can happen. You understand, don't you, son? Yes. What is it? I've held something back from you all these years that I think you ought to know. And what's that? It's difficult for me to say, but it has to do with your father. Do we have to talk about that now? I really know the whole story. No, you don't. Not the whole story. It didn't happen the way you were first told. When your father left us, it didn't happen the way I said. He never drowned in the river, and he never abandoned you, son. What are you saying? You were 5 years old and too young to understand. Your father and I disagreed about everything, and with this drinking and running around, it made him crazy at times. He had a terrible temper, and one day he took it too far. I screamed and fought him off the best I could. My father found me bloody with my clothes torn and hardly recognized me. Later he told me he found your father at a bar, dragged him outside, and then he just ran off. We never saw him again, and I never questioned my father. It wasn't until he was dying in the hospital that he grabbed my hand and told me about that day. He said he took your father into the woods, down by a narrow creek, held a shotgun to his temple, saying, "If you ever set foot in these parts again, or try to contact my daughter or grandson, I promise you, I'll hunt you down like a miserable dog and kill you." I'm sorry. I'm sorry, son. I meant to tell you, but the right time never came. And now with you going off to war, I thought you needed to know. If anything were to happen to you, I couldn't live with myself. I guess you're man enough to hear it now. Man enough? Why now? After all these years? I'm sorry, son. It was hard for both of us. He was a bad man and nothing could be done about it. We're not talking about you, Mother. It's not about you, but me and him. He may have been a bad man, but he was my father. Grandpa had no right chasing him off like a mad dog. He had his reasons and was always right. Forgive me, but it wasn't my fault. Whose fault? Was it then mine? No, it was never your fault. I've got to get ready. I don't know what to say to you. You should have told me, Mother. What else have you kept from me? Nothing. I promise you. Don't hold it against me for telling you the truth, son. Today, I'm leaving like Father, and I too may never come home. I would rather believed a lie. The lights suddenly go black as Mariam's voice is still heard, while Black Harriet exits unnoticed, with Mabel returning to her seat. The lights slowly rise as she continues to speak.
He didn't look at her on the drive to the train station. I could see the hurt on her face, but she pretended nothing was ever said between them.
That's quite a story, but if she gets any worse, you know where to come. I've got to run. Can you help me to my car?
Sure.
You know, if I were 5 years younger, I'd convince that young man into taking me for a long, rocky boat ride with no port in sight.
Mabel, as if I want to hear that.
Oh, he's a real looker, don't you think?
I don't know what you're saying.
You're not fooling me. I saw how your face flushed when he took your hand.
He squeezed my hand too tightly, it hurt.
Or was it something more personal?
Mabel, take him on your boat ride for all I care. I'm not the least bit interested, honest.
Oh, I may stop by tomorrow. I just love seeing men sweat, don't you?
Mabel, please. Aren't you afraid of others hearing you?
No, why should I be?
You're impossible.
No, I'm delightful. Mariam and Mabel exit upstage. It's the following morning with Sebastian entering the kitchen, dressed in overalls, as the lights slowly rise.
Good morning, Sebastian. She's still sleeping.
Well, I hope she gets some rest then. I wanted to tell her I forgot the nail, so we'll be starting a little later than planned. It's hot as the Arabian desert. Oh, do you have anything cold to drink?
There's some fresh apple juice. Sit down, and I'll bring you some. Will Richard be wanting any?
Mariam crosses to the cold box, pulling out a pitcher of juice. He's counting shingles and stacking them on a pallet at the moment. He's a fine young man and a good worker. His father's a lucky man to have such a son.
Where did he say he's going?
Minnesota. He's going to help work his father's farm. I've never been to Minnesota, but I hear it's nice. Have you ever been there?
No, but I've heard it's a lot like here.
I imagine so.
What's he like?
He's fairly quiet and well-mannered. And I mean, he doesn't talk much, but I like him, though. He's attentive and strikes me as a reasonably intelligent and fair-minded young man. Why do you ask?
No particular reason. It's not often we share company with a stranger.
I understand. It was a stroke of luck and the will of God that brought him to my door. It was late, just before I settled in for the night, when I heard someone knocking. His first question was whether Mrs. Jablondki lived in the town. He said he knew her son, so that was that.
He doesn't know him very well, though, does he?
Apparently not.
It's odd, don't you think?
I like to think he's a messenger sent from above to give us hope. Morgan's all right.
I suppose so.
Listen, Mariam, since we're sitting together, I'm curious about something. After last night, it worries me about Harriet. I know things have been rough between you two. To be honest, she's shared things with me that have deeply upset her. And one thing in particular was the day you told her Morgan wouldn't be coming home. Why would you say such a thing?
I didn't mean to hurt her.
I'm sure you didn't. But saying something like that only brings pain.
And it pains me to hear her going on like he'll be stepping through our front door at any second.
She's just trying to keep a bright outlook, that's all.
I knew the day he left he'd never be coming home.
Now, how would you know that?
I knew the day he'd left he'd never be coming home.
Now, how would you know that?
I just knew. God shows us things, doesn't he?
That he does. But there are times we just have to have faith. We have to hope for the best. Even in our darkest hour, we can't allow ourselves to faint. That's what Harriet's trying not to do. Can you see that, Marian?
Yes, I can. It was such a beautiful morning. Morgan had come home on leave. He was so handsome and had a sparkle of pride in his eyes that I hadn't seen for a very long time. At last, his life felt part of a larger thing than himself, and he was leaving behind a past that made him feel lesser of a man. You should have seen him standing there, all tall and proud.
The stage goes to black. This is a flashback scene in 1943. Morgan and Marian are at the train depot waiting for the train to arrive to take Morgan to war. As you promised, there won't be any tears today. Am I right?
No tears, but what you're asking me is impossible.
Keep a happy face. I don't want Mother falling apart.
You have to promise to bring this home to me.
Now what's this?
I wrote our address on its back just in case you forget.
What a beautiful picture. It's you on Mackinac Island, right?
You took it. You should know.
I'll keep it right here, next to my heart. I promise you, whatever happens, it'll find its way home to you. You've got my word on that. This is unlike Mother. Where is she?
She's talking to the porters. She wants to make sure you'll be well taken care of.
She never quits, doesn't she?
No, she doesn't. How will you survive without her fussing?
I'll manage, but being away from you now, That'll take some adjusting to.
I'll stay busy and write you every day.
As we discussed, I don't want you leaving Mother's side. She'll need your help.
I'll do my best, I promise.
I know you don't want to hear this, but if anything should happen to me, I want you to live a happy life, Mariam Jablondki. Do you understand?
You're right. I don't want to hear this.
Please, let me have my say. It's my only chance to tell you how much I love you. You're young, and if I don't return, I want you to live a full life. But you've got to promise me, whenever you smell the sweet cherry blossoms carried on the wind, you'll hear me whispering in your ear of how you were the love of my life, and how our son and I will be waiting on the other side for you. Can you promise me that, Mariam Jablondki?
That I can. I promise to never forget you as long as I live. Come home to me. Please come home to me.
Harriet enters. Now, don't be making a public spectacle of yourselves. What are people going to think? But she's one of the prettiest girls, but only second to you, Mother. Now, I don't want to be hearing any lies, son. Before you leave, is there anything we can get you? Just a hug and best wishes will do. You come home, safe and sound. You hear me, son? Yes, Mother. And don't forget to write. I won't. All aboard! Well, the time's finally come. Make us proud, son. I'll do my best, Mother. Oh, to the hell with what people think. Harriet wraps her arms firmly around Morgan. Be safe, son. I love you, Mother. You just come home now. You hear me? I won't disappoint you, Mother. Marian, I'll wait for you at the car. I don't want to make a scene. Goodbye, son. Goodbye, Mother. You're the pride of my life. If only your grandpa could see you this day. Harriet gives Morgan one last hug and exits.
I promise to keep an eye on her.
She's a tough old coot, but she means well. I've got to go.
You bring this photo home to me, Mariam Jablondki. Do you hear me?
That I will. I promise. Now give me a kiss goodbye. I'll be expecting a letter soon.
I'm already writing it on my heart.
All aboard! Gotta go! Be good! See you soon!
I'll never forget you, Morgan. I'll never forget you. As he walked to board the train, I knew it would be the last time I'd ever see him again.
The lights slowly go to black.
The ride home was unbearable because I had no one to share my pain.
Hello? Anyone there? We're in here, Richard. Richard crosses to the dining room doorway. The shingles are stacked. Good morning, Marian. You look as if you can use a cold glass of apple juice. Here, sit down while I fetch the nails. Sebastian stands. Thank you for the cold drink, Mariam. I'd like to finish our talk later, if you don't mind.
All right.
Cool off and keep her company until I return. That won't be a problem, sir. Sebastian exits.
Here, let me get you a drink.
Is it always this hot?
No, but it's unusually hot for August.
It's not keeping the wasps from flying around, though.
I know, but it makes me not want to go outside.
She hands him the glass. Thank you. A man would go delirious if he couldn't drink on a day like this.
Yes, I'm sure he would.
So, how do you spend your hours of the day?
Oh, I try to keep things clean around here, and I do occasional sewing. It keeps me busy.
Work can do that all right. What about for fun? What do you like to do?
Fun?
Yes, going to movies, dancing, that sort of thing. You do have fun, don't you?
I don't go out much.
I believe people deserve a good time once in a while. I promised myself if I ever survived this damn war, I'd spend more time living than just working. What was he like?
Who?
Morgan.
How do you mean?
We hardly knew each other in boot camp.
He's a good man.
How did you meet?
That was a long time ago. I went with some girlfriends to the Lyric Theater in Traverse City. When I stood in line for popcorn, this tall, nice-looking man stood behind me, and he began talking to me. Before I knew it, we were sitting in the back of the theater sharing popcorn and whispering. Soon an usher asked us to be quiet, so we left, and we found a quiet diner down the street. He was from Horton Bay, a short distance from Charlevoix. We had so much in common. My girlfriends were furious. They thought I'd been kidnapped. Our ride home was spent gushing over how handsome he was and what a stroke of luck I had in meeting him. We were inseparable. Morgan introduced me to his family, and I immediately fell in love with his grandpa, William McKinley. We spent our first summer hiking through the woods and fishing in their small rowboat named Harriet's Yacht in Wallon Lake. Before I met Morgan, I had returned from college with a degree in fine arts, and my family began to worry I was wasting my time. I had planned to travel to Paris that fall. I loved painting, but after meeting him, it changed everything. Without my family's approval, we eloped to Mackinac Island and quietly married with a few friends and his family present. And we spent a full week on the island talking about our future.
What work did he do before the war?
He was good with his hands, and he could build anything out of wood. But with the Depression, times were hard, and so he found what he could. Mostly odd jobs here and there.
Was he a religious man?
No, not religious, but he believed in God. Grandpa McKinley taught him buildings don't speak anything about the man, but the deeds you share are what matters most.
Did he have any dreams?
Oh, yes. He wanted to own a shop where he could design and build tables and chairs and kitchen cabinets. He made the table and chairs you're sitting at. He had a passion, all right.
Had?
Has a passion.
I'm back with the nails, Richard. Are you up for a little work? Yes, sir. See you outside, then. Sebastian exits as Richard stands. Thank you for the drink and conversation.
You're welcome.
Richard exits as Harriet is heard off stage. Mariam, was that Morgan you were talking to?
No, it wasn't.
I thought it was. Is there any more aspirin? I've got a splitting headache.
Yes, I'll be right there.
Marian appears frozen, with her arms wrapped around her body, as the lights slowly dim. Morgan steps into the bedroom doorway, dressed in his military uniform. He stares unnoticed at Mariam as the lights slowly dim to black. Act 2, Scene 3. As the lights rise, we hear Harriet's voice off stage. Sebastian, you and Richard drop what you're doing and come in. It's too dark to be working at this hour. I've got a delicious pork and bean soup ready to serve. Harriet enters the kitchen and begins ladling soup into 2 bowls. Sebastian and Richard enter the kitchen. Richard is bare-chested, carrying his dirty white long-sleeved shirt. My, it sure smells good in here, Harriet. It ought to, Sebastian. I've been cooking it for nearly 4 hours. Go, and sit down. You men look like you couldn't pound another nail if your life depended on it. They cross to the dining room table. You got that right, and we're nearly 2/3 finished. All that's left is the low roof, which should go fairly quick tomorrow. Would you care for some bread and butter, gentlemen? Yes, please. Love some? Richard stands, putting his shirt on, but Harriet stops him. Now, Richard, why would you want to go and put on a dirty shirt? It's not polite sitting at the table the way I am. Marian!
What is it, Harriet?
Please fetch Richard a clean shirt, will you? We can't have him wearing a dirty shirt to supper.
I'm not sure we have one.
Check the closet and see if Morgan left any behind.
All right.
Harriet continues bringing accessories to the table until Marian returns carrying a red long-sleeved shirt, forcing Harriet to stop. Is that the only one you could find?
It's the only one left. Is there something wrong with this one?
No. It'll be just fine. Marian hands it to Richard, and he puts it on. Thank you. Looks like a perfect fit, Richard. Marian, don't be unsociable. Come and sit down. Richard stands, offering a chair next to him. Sebastian, will you please say grace? I'd be happy to. They all hold hands. Lord, we thank thee for this day and nourishment, and you abundantly provide. Please bless the hands that prepared and served this food, and help us to remember to be thankful as we break bread together in love and thanksgiving. In the Father, the Son, and Holy Ghost we do pray. Amen. The shirt looks handsome on you. Thank you, Mrs. Jablondki. Don't you think so, Mariam?
Yes, it's a nice color.
I remember the day I bought it for Morgan. Do you remember?
Yes, his last birthday before he left.
Nothing was more difficult than choosing what to buy him. He was impossible to please. Sebastian, do you suppose it's why he left it behind? He probably forgot to pack it, that's all. You think so? Yes, he must have forgotten to take it with him. Well, it looks wonderful on you all the same, Richard. Mariam, after we eat, would you mind washing Richard's dirty shirt? That's not necessary, Mrs. Jablondki. I can do it. Nonsense. With the work you put in, we're greatly indebted, right, Marian?
Yes.
Thank you, Marian. To think we won't have to be dodging puddles against this year. In fact, I'd like to offer the shirt as a gift to you. I'm sure Morgan wouldn't mind his fellow soldier wearing it. I couldn't. It belongs to your son. Of course you can. My father taught me to pay an honest wage for an honest day's work, and since money's a little short, we'll provide what we can. Besides, it looks better on you than it did on Morgan. Don't you agree, Marian?
I'm not sure.
Something either is or isn't, and it's never in between. Harriet, perhaps they look just as good as the other. I can understand how that can be. Nonsense! A calf's born alive or dead, fish are in or out of water, and the sun's either shining or dark. My father taught me that. I'm surprised at you, Sebastian. Once we leave this good earth, it's either heaven or hell, isn't it? Now, why do we want to spoil your delicious pork and bean soup with a weighty discussion better left for Sunday, Harriet?
I agree.
Do you now, Mariam? Well, it stands just the same. You look dashing in Morgan's red shirt, Richard. Thank you, Mrs. Jablondki. I heard an interesting bit of news in town while fetching Nels. Sebastian, you're not telling us you're listening to gossip now, I hope? No, nothing like that. It's more on the serious side. Apparently, we have an escaped POW heading our way, and by some accounts, he's already in the area. Really? Japanese or German? German, they say. Do they have a description? I didn't ask Richard, but some locals are up in arms.
They've got guns?
Yes. He's on the run and desperate, which makes him dangerous. I can understand they're wanting to protect themselves. Isn't that right, Sebastian? Absolutely, Richard. We never can be too careful. We still have my father's shotgun in the closet, don't we, Marian?
Yes, it's wrapped in a blanket.
Good. Before we go to bed, we better make sure it's loaded. Wait. I didn't mean to put everyone on edge. We just need to have a little faith. Sebastian, I just assumed he was looking down the barrel of a shotgun when I quote him a verse or two then. Did they say where he escaped from, Sebastian? Yes, a small internment camp outside of Clinton, Mississippi.
Why would he come all the way up here?
Have you forgotten the Canadian borders north of us? But Mexico's closer, and if I was on the run, I'd grab a boat and steer for Cuba. Richard, maybe he doesn't know how to swim. Regardless, we best be vigilant. Well, I'll change the subject and ask why nobody's commented on my soup yet. I was just about to say how delicious it is. May I have more, please? I as well, Mrs. Jablondki. Mariam?
No, thank you. I think I'll get a basket of dirty clothes to wash along with Richard's shirt.
In case you change your mind, there's plenty in the pot on the stove.
I enjoyed it very much, thank you.
Mariam goes into the bedroom, exiting off the stage. More bread, gentlemen? Yes, please. Oh, yes, me too. Harriet crosses to the kitchen as the lights slowly fade to black. As the lights slowly rise, it's later in the evening with Sebastian and Richard sitting at the table. And that's how I became a Presbyterian minister. Although I do hope to marry one day, providing it's God's will, and naturally if the right woman happens to cross my path. I'd say if God intends for me to be fruitful and multiply, he'd better bring her soon. And you, Richard, have you a young lady waiting for you at home? I did, but you know how things go. Yes, not exactly, no, but I understand what you're saying. Before the war, Sebastian, we planned to marry, but out of sight, out of mind, they say. Mm, yes, at times I feel I've been spared all these years. Richard, has your father always been a farmer? No. He was an iron worker most of his life. He had a bad accident a short time before the war, but they kept him working in the office, ordering materials and invoicing jobs. He hated it. He's a proud man and missed working in the field. He'd much rather hang from a steel girder 40 stories in the sky with a freezing headwind than sit comfortably in a war office pushing paper. And your mother, Richard? They were divorced when I was young. I stayed with him, and she lives somewhere near her family. Close by? I don't know, Sebastian. She never made a point of contacting me, and my dad doesn't like to talk about her. Weren't you curious about her? At first, yes. But as time went by, less and less. My dad gave me everything I needed, so I stopped wondering. Did your father remarry? No, he used to say, only a fool allows a mule to kick him twice. First time makes you wise, but the second proves your stupidity. I guess he didn't want people thinking he was stupid. I guess not. Well, the morning's getting closer, and we've got a big day ahead of us. Are you ready to go? Yes, sir. Harriet, we'll be leaving now. Harriet rushes in. So soon? I thought we'd play some cards and listen to music. It's still early, don't you think? Not that early, and I'm not as young as I used to be. I'll need a good night's rest for tomorrow's work. Harriet, thank you for the wonderful dinner, and we'll see you in the morning. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Jablondki. You're both welcome. If you want, stop by in the morning, and I'll prepare you a fine breakfast. We'll take you up on that, all right. Well, Richard, are you ready? Yes, sir. Mariam, come say goodbye. Mariam appears at her bedroom door.
Good night, Pastor Dupree. Good night, Richard.
Yes. See you both in the morning. Marian, I'm walking them out. Can you straighten things up a bit? Sebastian, you're an angel sent from God. Now, I don't want to be hearing any of that, Harriet. I'm only a man. Sebastian and Richard exit upstage, with Harriet following behind. Mariam clears whatever is left on the table with the lights fading to black. Act 2, Scene 4. The cottage is dark and silent. Late in the middle of the night, an obscure figure enters the kitchen from upstage, moving slowly and cautiously. You soon discover it's Richard Brittenbach, who has a small duffel bag hanging from his shoulder and is carrying Morgan's red shirt to the dining room table. He quietly drapes it over the back of a chair and then reaches into his coat pocket, pulling out a small photo. which he places on the table. He quietly stands looking at the photo, then turns to leave, but from the bedroom doorway enters Marian holding a shotgun.
Whoever you are, I'm holding a shotgun, and I want you out of this house without any trouble.
Richard turns and faces to Mariam. It's me, Mariam.
Richard?
I came to return Morgan's shirt. She sets a shotgun against the wall.
So, I see. But why so late? Are you going somewhere?
Yes.
What about the roof? Does Sebastian know?
No. He doesn't know. No.
Has something happened to change your mind?
Yes. But I can't talk about it now.
I'm sure you have your reasons, but you didn't have to return his shirt. Let me fold it for you.
She grabs the shirt and begins folding it when she notices a small photo on the table. As if in slow motion, she stops folding and picks it up, lifting a hand to cup her mouth. She eases herself slowly into a chair.
Did you put this here?
Yes. And I'm not who I said I am. I was born here, but when I was 7, my mother left my father and returned to Germany. There I lived and later enlisted in the army to fight for our Führer. I was taken prisoner during the Battle of the Bulge.
How did you get this picture?
Oh, we were in the woods when we came across Americans near a stream. We fired on them. My officer didn't want us stopping, so he ordered me to stay behind and make sure all were dead. We killed everyone except for what? I saw he was badly wounded, and as I pointed my rifle at him, he reached into his coat pocket and held up a photo to me. I'll never forget how calm his voice was. He said he made a promise. As I listened, the sounds of war fell silent. Everything was still. I wasn't sure what I should do. He was in great pain. I quickly took the photo, and he said to me, "I forgive you. I forgive you."
How did he die?
I'm sorry.
Tell me how he died.
I think you know.
Tell me, how did he die, Richard?
He had lost a lot of blood and knew he didn't have long. He calmly asked me to shoot him, to spare his suffering. At that moment, as I looked into his eyes, I had no enemies. I realized the war as I knew it was now over for me.
Thank you.
What? I don't understand. I just said I killed your husband.
You kept his promise for me. You better go.
Yes. But I want you to know it was your picture that kept me warm during that Belgian winter, as I huddled in a frozen trench, comforted me in my days of confinement in the prison camp. I want you to know I fell in love with you, and now I truly understand the great loss your husband felt, knowing he would never set his eyes on you again. I'm sorry, Mariam. Please, please forgive me.
We're taught to love our enemies, aren't we? Our war is over. Goodbye, Richard.
Richard leaves, leaving Mariam in the dining room, clutching the red shirt. Soon crossing downstage from the kitchen is Harriet, wearing a robe. Mariam, I heard voices. Were you talking to someone?
No, no one. Do you want me to help you back to bed?
No, I'm awake now. I had the strangest dream. Morgan was telling me not to worry, and when I asked him why, he softly said he wasn't coming home. I asked him why, and he didn't answer for a very long time. Then I asked him again, and he leaned over and kissed me on my cheek, saying, "Whenever you smell the sweet cherry blossoms carried on the wind, you'll hear me whispering in your ear, everything is all right, and you needn't worry any more." What do you suppose it means?
It means he's finally come home to both of us.
The lights slowly dim as Harriet and Mariam's hold one another, with the lights fading to black.